Welcome to the Daily Dev Talk with me, Adrian Nantchev, where we explore and share experiences, stories, and lessons 7 days a week from across the games industry, helping you make the best game you can. Stay tuned for today's episode. Good morning, Overload Nation. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Dev Talk, talking to game developers from across the world to bring you experiences, stories, and lessons 7 days a week. Today, I'm joined with Andreas Rönnberg from Team Seek-Skeller to talk about their first game, Cry of Fear. Andreas, talk about yourself first, please, and how you got into the games industry.
All right. Hey, thank you. So I'm just a guy from Sweden. I started making games on my free time when I was 12. I started out working on 2D games on a program called, I think it's called the Games Factory. Anyway, and from there I started working on Half-Life mods. I first started, well, first of all, I really enjoyed playing Half-Life mods and Counter-Strike and all that. And I started making maps for Counter-Strike at first. And then it later on developed into a mod that I made called Afraid of Monsters. And once that mod was released, that mod became a success, and it made me start to know a lot of people. And from there on, we formed a team called Team Seek-Skeller, which is, well, I guess I can talk more about that later. But anyway, so we formed the Team Seek-Skeller, and we started working on Cry of Fear. And this was I think 6 years later or something like that. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little about the studio. Like, how many people are there working with you?
First of all, I wouldn't call it a studio. It's more a team of, I guess, some people working from home through the internet. It's nothing like serious. It's more like we just do some small stuff for fun. But we are 3 guys, or we used to be 3 guys. We're now only 2 guys. It's me, and then there's another co-leader who's mostly doing programming, and then the third guy, he left right after we released Cry of Fear. And then we had 3 voice actors that I actually should include as well, but they aren't very active anymore.
I understand. Well, but all the voices have been created. So tell me about the game then, about Cry of Fear, and what you wanted the player to experience.
Cry of Fear, as you can see, it's a horror game, and our most biggest focus with Cry of Fear was to try and scare people, I guess. But we also focused a lot on the drama in Cry of Fear and tried to make a story that felt like an actual story, I guess. And we had a lot of cutscenes and stuff to enhance the experience of the story. So I guess that's what it is, like a game with a compelling, dramatic story, which also tries to scare you.
Compelling and yet terrifying. Okay, so when it came to promoting Cry of Fear, what methods worked, what didn't work so well?
I think what really made Cry of Fear so popular was like around the time we released Cry of Fear, the phenomena called Let's Play on YouTube became very popular. And especially PewDiePie started playing the game, and this was before he became very popular, but we have had some contacts, me and him, and he helped me bring up the publicity of Cry of Fear by playing it and uploading trailers on his YouTube channel. That was very grateful, so I'm very thankful to him. And then it spread on. Other people started making Let's Play of Cry of Fear, and I think that's how it became so popular. I can't think of what other approaches we tried to reach it out to other people. Uh, I don't think we really tried. I guess we just let it happen, and then the Let's Play phenomena took over.
Ah, so generally organic then.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So how did you go about funding the game?
We all worked for free.
Uh-huh.
Nobody has been paid for the work. So it's just been like, working from home just for fun, on your free time whenever you have time.
Hmm.
Yeah, and we did that for 4 years. So it's been very tricky to like keep everyone together for such a long time without any payment. But at the same
Hmm.
time, this was like a long time ago when we were still studying and we didn't like we had more free time basically.
I
So,
get you. I get you. So how did you go about QAing the game and getting feedback for it?
we had a lot of people coming in. Like we asked people from the internet to play the game for us, and we've had other people contributing work to Cryfear, like people who's jumped in, made like a weapons model or something, and then jumped out, and we had them play the game as well, and they were testing it and gave us feedback and that stuff. And also we had
Hmm.
a lot of relatives, like our brothers or sisters, helping out playing the game and just trying.
I get you. Cool. So what was cut from the game and why?
I guess the biggest thing that you can call being cut is that Cryfear is developed on such an old engine. It's the Half-Life 1 engine, the Gold Source engine. And I think we at one point tried to convert it to the Source engine, which is the Half-Life 2 engine. And that would have, given a lot of, would have been, make it able for us to make such more better graphics and, to make it more,
Next gen?
yeah, I guess,
Hmm.
to allow more bigger maps, etc., etc. Anyway, so we tried to work on Source, but I forgot why we didn't stick to it. I guess it's because at that time Source was still so early in development. Like there wasn't a lot of tools out there. It was hard to like get your custom models in there and that stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, since I mean you have to think that Cryfair has been in development for 4 years, or I guess 5 years since it took 1 year to make it standalone. And
Mm.
when we started work on Cryfair, that was like yeah, a long time ago, or very early with the Source engine. So we scrapped that and just stuck with the Gold Source engine. And yeah, I guess that's had some flaws.
Hmm. I get you. That's pretty old, quite archaic if it's older Half-Life 1 engine.
Yeah,
Quite old. So what was the biggest thing you learnt while working on the game?
I guess the biggest issue have been to work on the game on your free time, to allocate time for it. Like it's hard when it's not your job and it's just stuff you do in your free time. You have to try to coordinate that with like other social stuff you have to try to do. So one
Hmm.
lesson big learned is to working with a game on your free time. That's very hard to coordinate.
Oh yeah, I can understand that. All right. Find that right balance between getting stuff done and not doing stuff so you can relax.
Yeah,
Mm. So what was the worst thing that happened, and how did you overcome it?
I guess there's been like drama in the team, like, oh, are we ever gonna finish the game, or it's been so long, and people are starting to think like, oh, I might as well just stop and do something else. And there's been moments of that, like where we've had argues in the teams, and like, what are we doing with this game, and that's kind of stuff.
But what I don't quite understand is that if you had publicity through a lot of Let's Plays back in the early days,
Yeah.
from from PewDiePie and others, wouldn't that have like spurred the whole team to get it finished, get it done? Because you got this massive publicity, and that would have trickled down into a lot of followers or subscribers and such, and a lot of anticipation. Wouldn't that have all? Firstly, wouldn't that have happened in general, and two, wouldn't that have spurred that team on in general as well?
You mean like with motivation, like motivating the team?
Yeah,
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 yeah, I
it's massive
guess.
exposure.
Like the game didn't get popular until like a couple months before release. So we were working for like 3.5 years or so before we started getting like some attention to the game. So during that whole time when we were just in the dark working on the game, it was kind of hard to to get motivated.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
What do you happen to know why at all?
Sorry.
Do you happen to know why?
I no, I guess it's because it's it's a free game that we made on our free time. I guess that's the motivation. The lack of motivation is thanks to that, I think, since it's not like a
Hmm.
paid proper job.
I understand. Okay. So, what was the best game dev purchase? Whether it was hardware or microphones for the voice actors, or simply a comfortable chair and a good desk.
I guess during development, I started using two monitors. I think that was the biggest step, and also the step from stopping to use a CRT monitor, the old chunky glassy monitors back in the like
Hmm.
early 2000s.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's quite old.
yeah, I was still using that. That was quite awkward, but so I guess that's my biggest thing: dual new modern monitors. But this was like back in 2009 or eight. I mean, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, the monitors would have been still generally thin back then, but I get you. That's cool. So, can you recommend any game dev related book, lecture, or learning resource?
I guess I watch a lot of movies to get inspiration. I used to play a lot of horror games back when I was younger. For that really inspired me, like the Silent Hill series. Um, that inspired me a lot to start to make games. And I also
Hmm.
enjoy a lot of psychological horror movies.
I
I
see.
hope I answered the
So
question.
that's all right. So, any movies in particular you can recommend? Silent Hill series and psychological horror.
Yeah, there's one movie called Jacob's Ladder. That's really awesome.
Jacob, Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah,
What is it about? It doesn't
it's
sound familiar.
it's hard to explain it without spoiling too much, but it's about this guy who wakes up in the subway and sorry, I swear there.
It's all right.
He wakes up in the subway and stuff starts to happen. Like he starts experiencing hallucinations and that sort of things, and it's pretty freaky. I guess if you like the like mysteriousness and atmosphere in Cry-Fear, I guess you'll like it.
When you said Jacob, I thought you were going to say Jacob's Radio or something. The Robin Williams film from the '90s or something of the sort about the prisoners of war. And also, I think that's the first swear word we've had since like episode 20 or something.
Oh wow, that was
Yeah, so
given
that's pretty.
a hard or big swear word.
No, but still, it's easy to sort out. But hey, first one for ages. So movies, that's different. Normally people go for like tutorials or something, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Jacob's Ladder. So like an Evernote or a Trello, do you have a useful or productivity enhancing software, app, extension, or website worth sharing?
um, I didn't catch that question.
Do you have a useful or productivity enhancing software, app, extension, or website worth sharing?
Um, Not that I know of, or there's probably tons of stuff that I use, but I can't think of anything particular.
Okay, okay. So, what advice Andreas, can you give to aspiring game developers, small indie studios, and people trying to get to where you are today?
Best way to start to make games is to start small, and I guess you start by making like mods and maybe levels to games. At least that's how I started. Like I started making Counter-Strike levels on my own. So I never studied for my stuff. I just, out of curiosity, started working on stuff, and I was wondering how stuff was being made, and I looked up a lot of tutorials and that sort of stuff. So that's my big like.
So start small.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so cool. So what is next for you, and what's the best way to contact you?
I'm not working on anything right now. We have had plans on making another game for the Source engine. We actually were working on it for a year, but we put it on ice for now, so we're not working on it anymore. We might pick it up again sometime in the future and keep working on it. We'll see.
I get you. And so what's the best way to contact you?
I guess you can send me a private message on ModDB. I'm called Rumpel there. Or you can send me a private message on our Cry Fear forums. I'm called Rumpel over there as well. I think that's the best way to go.
Okay, that's all right, no worries. Well, Andreas, it appears that we're out of time for this episode of the Daily Dev Talk. It was great talking to you, and it's interesting to note that you're going for a compelling yet terrifying horror game with cutscenes and narrative.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool, and it's free as well, so that's pretty beautiful. I wish you well on this other game that you're thinking of doing and have in mind for future.
Yeah, I hope something happens with that.
So stay tuned to those horror films, get more inspiration. And stay tuned to Overload Nation, more videos to come. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Daily Dev Talk with me, Adrian Nantchev. If you are a game developer that wants to get your name and game out there and to share your experiences and stories, or you have feedback or opinions of the show, then contact me at info@gameoverload.co.uk. That's info@gameoverload.co.uk. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, more to come.